Well, howdy there, Internet people. It's Belle again. So today, we're going to talk about Trump, Musk, Congress, and math that isn't mathing. Trump's Department of Government Efficiency and the people associated with it have made some very big promises. Now, Congress is wondering how they plan on fulfilling them. We've talked a few times about how looking for efficiency creates spending cuts by default. But looking for cuts creates, well, problems mostly. And we definitely talked about looking for cuts to create a meme-worthy number and how that wasn't a great idea. Well, it turns out the $2 trillion meme-worthy number is making Republicans in Congress sweat. Why? Because even though they want to help with Trump's agenda, they also know the math. The reason a lot of people are skeptical of that massive number is simple. We'll use numbers from the Congressional Budget Office. In 2023, the total amount spent was $6.1 trillion. Total revenues were $4.4 trillion. From that, you can see where the $2 trillion number probably came from. There's about a $2 trillion gap. Federal spending can easily be broken down into three categories: interest payments on debt, mandatory spending, and discretionary spending. What's the difference between mandatory and discretionary? Mandatory is spending that is built into law: Social Security, Medicare, Medicaid, military retirements, etc. Discretionary spending is everything else. It's the stuff appropriated each year. That's defense spending, transportation, education, and everything else that most people think of as government spending. That's where Musk's cuts will have to come from. And here's the math problem. How do you get $2 trillion of cuts out of $1.7 trillion in spending? That's right. Musk could literally cut every single dime of DOD's budget and literally everything else in the appropriations package and still not get to his $2 trillion. That means to get to his $2 trillion, he has to go into mandatory spending. Military retirements, Social Security, Medicare, and that kind of stuff. That would hurt Congresspeople's chances at re-election. They aren't going to vote for that. They aren't going to vote against their own interests. They're members of Congress, not the average voter. So here's the problem. Republicans in Congress know all of this, but they also know that their base doesn't. They've spent years talking about the national debt and fiscal responsibility. They've done it for so long that they are really the driving force behind the creation of Trump and Musk's pet project. What happens when the Republican base finds out they can't deliver on these cuts without getting rid of military retirements? That the U.S. can't actually get out of the red ink through cuts. If you can't cut expenses, you have to increase revenue. You can't get it from the little guy. Wow, it's almost like with just pure math, you come to the conclusion that you have to start taxing the billionaires more. So here's my guess. The $2 trillion is eventually going to become $2 trillion over 10 years, or something like that. I absolutely hate the expression, but they love it. Something, run the government like a business. If you want to run it like a business, your business needs more money. Because there's no amount of cuts that don't include politically sacred spending that will get you there. I'm honestly not sure you could really get it through cuts without completely crashing the U.S. economy. Taxes on the rich would have to go up. Anyway, it's just a thought. Y'all have a good day.